item 10, the annual report for the year ending 30 June, Council Controlled Organisations. Would you like to make a quick mention, or
it's the same thing, but this one's for the ones owned directly by council, and the trusts. There's some of as small CCOs, as I've just gone past it on the agenda. You won't have seen these. Well, all these entities combine up into the council's annual report itself, but you haven't seen the detail down. Now, typically this would have come to a committee before it comes straight to council. But we thought it was better to actually put it in before the Christmas break rather than wait for the committees, and these results would be over 6 months old and you'd be seeing the half-year accounts from these entities at the same time.
Is there anything that you'd like to highlight then, given that we haven't had a committee to refer it to? We've made the main highlights in the body of the report. We took the key snapshots out of each of the entities, and we looked more at what we thought was significant and what they hadn't met in their SOI targets. If I was to go through them in the same order as what they are in 4.4 in the report, Chewham, because of the insurance recoveries, had a very large profit for the year. Subsequent to 30 June, it actually paid a $40 million dividend to council. So it's very much a non-trading entity at the moment. Civic Building is, this is how we plan it to be. We don't expect it to be making profits. That's not the nature of the building at this time in its life cycle, or our entity that owns the building, should I say. And the Will Buskers Festival, probably since it's made the media today, that was more about the weather, but it was more that the park had to be closed for the first half of the festival, which impacts the second half of the festival. The festival for this coming year is very different. There's nothing in Hagley Park. It's centred out of the Arts Centre, and their tickets are on sale and have been for nearly a month already. So the ticket sales are progressing through there. So they've sold out the last night as a sellout at Theatre Royal. So that's more a blip caused by weather and the circumstances that trust is in. And other than that, and I suppose I should talk about VBase, which has skimmed over it. VBase's result is severely impacted by the impact of the insurance settlement. It had already accrued insurance recoveries more than what it got, so it had to back those out in its financial statements, and that was approximately $16 million worse than what it had forecast it would be. So its performance before all those earthquake related things was in line with its plan, and there's work being done at a staff level with them on their performance. Very good. Are there any questions? Yanni?
I was just looking at VBase and wondering, it just said that there were new management agreements for a number of venues, and it mentioned Ilex Cafe, and I was just wondering, has that arrangement been new in this last financial year, or is that new since the earthquake?
It's new since the earthquake.
Right.
So that lease agreement, I think this is the financial year we're looking at would be the second year for that. I think it came in during the previous year before that.
Right. I thought it was like was it a 3-year lease or a 5-year lease?
3-year lease.
So it should be coming up soon, maybe Indeed. Next year. Right. Also, just the buskers, I was just concerned, there were concerns raised about it not using existing venues in the central city and going to Hagley Park, and clearly that's been a hugely expensive strategy. There was also concern about the fact that we were subsidising performances in other parts of Canterbury, not just in Christchurch. Do you have any view on, was there anything else other than the weather that went, that meant that we had that huge financial loss, and what are we doing to mitigate that this time?
And you compare the 2016 festival to the 2015, the only difference other than the weather was that they didn't actually have the Christ College auditorium. So they had to they took the decision to create more marquee venues in Hagley Park
So that was the main operational difference.
Right, which
after
seems a
they-
pretty risky kind of thing if your event relies on weather to have marquees at Hagley Park.
I think it was the rain was okay, it was the wind that caused the issue, which meant branches were coming down through Hagley Park at that time, which
Right.
is one of those things.
It's bad luck, but they're not going back there.
No.
And what about the cost of, what about the Canterbury performances? Did they recuperate much money? Did they have good attendance?
I know they had some good attendance in some places, and it's a development in other areas, I think would be fair to say, from the brief feedback that I've had from them on that.
I have been tweeted by one of the performers who can't wait to come back, so it will be a great performance this time, back in the streets. Any other questions? Would someone like to move that Mike Davidson, seconded? Somebody would like to second it? Glenn Livingston? I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.